gorgeous. Really good. Balance, one would say, mentally. Hi guys, welcome back to another mukbang eating show. Today I've just got a mishmash of things. I'm actually starting the 21-day fix tomorrow with Carrie, so I wanted to get some of the things that I enjoy eating. So I've got some mozzarella sticks here, which I love. I could eat mozzarella sticks every single day. I've also got some white rice, black beans with a little bit of like homemade pico. So I love white rice and black beans. I could eat it as a meal on its own. And you can't really have, you can have the beans, but you can't really have the rice. So I wanted to eat this since I can't be eating it later on. I'm trying a different setup here just to see if it's a little bit more light. And I am starving, so this is like my first official meal of the day, and it's like 3 o'clock. They've kind of cooled down a little bit, so they're not super stretchy, but mozzarella sticks are always good. I like to eat the breading. And then some of the cheese on the inside. So good. So, I was trying to think of a good story time to tell you guys. So, Carrie and I live in Northern California, just north of San Francisco, currently. But we did live in San Francisco. And for those of you that have never been to San Francisco or have never had the pleasure of walking down the streets of literally downtown San Francisco, right down Market Street or the Embarcadero, you might not know this, but San Francisco basically has a very large population of homeless people. And surprisingly not, like most of them will just stick to themselves. They're very nice, very polite. Don't get in your way. Don't try to, bother you in any way. But there is a portion of them that unfortunately are maybe a little bit unbalanced, one would say, mentally. And, it's really sad. You see them talking to themselves and carrying on full conversations. See them in the middle of the street, yelling at the air, which is like really dangerous. And the weather here in San Francisco, in Northern California, isn't like, while it's beautiful, yes, most of the time. It's kind of cloudy and rainy today. It can get really cold. So I was surprised when we first moved here about 2.5 years ago of how many people I saw on the streets, because, it's super cold and rainy a lot of the time. But I've got a couple of stories to tell you about some interesting encounters I've had. When we lived in the city, we used to walk to work. And one time in particular, we were walking down the same street. We were walking down Embarcadero, which is a pretty popular street in San Francisco, right along the bay. And, it's like 6:15 in the morning, and you got your headphones in, and you're paying attention to your surroundings. And so every day I would see the same gentleman dressed. There isn't anything that would give you the indication that he would be homeless. Really, he didn't smell funny. He didn't wear obviously dirty clothes or anything like that. And so I would see him every morning. I'd be going in one direction. He'd be coming in the other direction. And so one day I'm just walking down the street with Carrie, like not really paying attention to him. I see him every single morning. And I might have been talking to Carrie or listening to music, or I'm not really sure. But as we get ready to pass each other, he literally steps right in front of me and bangs his foot down, and he's like, boo, or bam, or something like that. And I was like, oh. And so he literally goes like he's gonna punch me, and he said something derogatory. I don't remember what it was. And I laughed or giggled, not because it was funny, because it wasn't, but just because that for some reason was my initial reaction. He basically spooked me, and I laughed. And of course he said something and I was just like, but it happened in the split instant. He literally could have hit me. There wasn't anything that would have stopped him from doing it. But then he just got out of my way and then kept on walking. And I was like, what the heck just happened? I see this guy like all the time and nothing has ever given me any kind of weird indication or whatever. And so from then on out, I walked on the opposite side of the street, just because I would still see him. He'd still be coming in that direction, and I would just to avoid any situation. So that was one. Another one on that same street. Again, oh my God, this is so good. It's just basically white rice, Mahama white rice, long grain, with some black beans, with some seasoning, with garlic, onions. And then I put some tapatio sauce because I love spicy things. And then I've got some pico de gallo on there and a little bit of purple onions, just so I like the crunch. But it's a little bit hot temperature oven-wise, or stove-wise, which is why I'm letting it cool down. I don't know if you can see the steam coming out of the bowl. Anyway, so one day, I can't remember if it was before or after that incident. We were walking down the same street in Barcadero, again on my way to work, and this homeless gentleman, obviously homeless, I think it was cold outside, I had a jacket on and things like that, and he was wearing shorts, a jacket, business jacket I think it was, no shoes, and he started talking to me in Spanish. And I'm responding to him, you know, just to be polite. And the thing here in San Francisco is everybody tells you, like, don't make eye contact. Like, that's the thing. You don't want to start up a conversation with someone that maybe is not all there and things like that. Not to be rude or to act as though they're invisible, but just, it really is a safety concern for those people that live here, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. But so, for whatever reason, that morning, I engaged him, and he asked, because he asked me if the police were coming, and it sort of was like one of those questions that you don't really understand, like, where it's coming from, and so I was like, I mean, I don't know. And he got off of he was sitting on, like, right above the sidewalk, like at someone's property. There was, like, a bunch of ceramic bricks, and so, like, they had, not like a fence, but it was just, like, a little high area, and he was sitting there, and so he starts following us. And then he's asking me if I've got candy. And I was like, no, sorry, I don't, And he's like, where are you going? And I was like, on my way to work. And so Carrie was about 3 or 4 steps in front of me. And then he wasn't giving off any type of, like, violent vibes or anything like that. He just was clearly on something, or just, I don't know. But, so, he's like, well, where you work? And of course I didn't tell him where I worked. And he asked if I could get him a job. And so I told him that I couldn't do that, but he's more than welcome to apply, blah, blah, blah. So, which probably wasn't the smartest thing to do, because he continued to follow me thinking that he was going to get a job. So, he's then asking if the person up there, Carrie, had any candy, and I was like, no, she doesn't have any candy. And he's just following us. Now we've walked about 2 or 3 blocks. And I'm starting to be like, okay, I can't, like, I don't want him to show up at my job. There's, like, security there at the front desk. You can't get in otherwise, without your badge and stuff. So, then he starts asking me if I know, like, these random people, and he's just rattling off Spanish names. And I was like, no, I don't know them. And so I was like, look, why don't you just wait here? And I thought you said the police were coming, and I'm sure they're on their way. And so then he, like, I forget, like, he went on this, like, rambling thing or whatever, and he was like, no, and continued to follow me, and then I finally got him to sit down, and so I was like, I'll call the police for you. And every time I would start to walk away, he would get up and follow us. Finally, for whatever reason, hold on. He decided to just sit there, and he got, like, a little upset. And I told him that I'd call the police, and they were coming. There wasn't, physically it looked like nothing, like, you know, he didn't need ambulance or anything from outwardly appearances, but it was weird because he ended up walking with us for a good 6 to 7 blocks. I was more than halfway to work, so. Then, one day, we had just gone for a run, and across from AT&T Ballpark where the Giants play, there's a little Starbucks there. And coffee shops in San Francisco are always full. And I didn't want a coffee, and so Carrie went inside and she was ordering her stuff, and I was just sitting outside at one of the tables. And there was other people out there, and somebody sneezed. It was, I believe it was an older gentleman with his dog walking by, not even like, I don't think he was there at Starbucks. I think he just happened to be walking by. And so I wasn't paying attention, and I just said, you know, bless you. And all of a sudden, this stick whoosh, 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 comes in front of my face, like this, literally this close, and just hits on the table. And I was like, what the heck? And I look up, and some very obvious homeless guy comes out of nowhere, and he gets like real close to me, and he's like, what the bleeps it to you? And I was like, what? And then he, as fast as he came out of nowhere with that stick and yelled at me, that was as fast as he was gone. Like, literally, I looked around and I was like, what the heck just happened again? And he was off and on to some other thing. But, I mean, I couldn't even tell you if me saying bless you was what triggered him, but it was crazy. So, I mean, you just see everything in San Francisco. It's a beautiful city, and it's the mix of people is incredible, like I've never seen before. But there's an overwhelming number of homeless people, and I found out this past week from someone at work that the reason why there's so many homeless people in San Francisco is because, unlike other cities in the country, you don't need a permanent address in order to get your benefits, whether that be, you know, food stamps or VA benefits or anything like that. San Francisco is one of the only cities in the country that doesn't make you have a permanent address. Therefore, people can come here and they can live on the streets. And some of them very happily do. And like I said, are very polite, very nice. And they don't have to worry about getting a P.O. box or, you know, getting an actual, renting a room or any space like that in order to be able to get their benefits. Which, if you knew San Francisco, you can look it up. It's like one of the most expensive places to live. And that doesn't mean just buying, like renting alone is like ridiculously expensive. So, this other time, I was actually driving to work, and I was going through this area called the Tenderloin, and it's this area is notoriously known to be like a lot of drug addicts and that sort of crime happens in that area. And it was probably, I don't know, 5:45 in the morning. I'm in the car with my coffee, listening to the radio, and several cars on the road. And so I'm watching, like, you know, people as they cross the street or on the sidewalk and things like that. And out of nowhere comes this lady, and she's got on, like, if you know, for those of you that are older like myself, who've seen that show Punky Brewster, she's got like a Punky Brewster outfit on. That's like the only way I can describe it. Like, ruffly skirt, bright colors. She didn't have her hair in pigtails because she had short hair. Like knee-high socks with all kinds of different colors on them. She had like arm warmers on with lots of colors on them. And she had this white stuff on her face and in her hair. It almost looked like talcum powder, like when you put on talcum powder and it makes your face or your body white wherever you put it. It was like that. And she was carrying a teddy bear. And the teddy bear, she was like petting the teddy bear. And like the teddy bear had like all this gauze around it, or what looked like gauze. I don't know, it could have been something else, but she just walked out from behind a car She was standing in the middle of the street, petting her teddy bear. It's crazy. And that one happened. The teddy bear one happened like, I think we had lived in the city for about a month at most, maybe not even that. I had never seen anything like that before. Crazy. I could go on, but some of them are pretty gross. I love mozzarella sticks. Guys, don't forget, if you're enjoying this video, to please like, comment, and most importantly, subscribe. It's a brand new channel. I've only got 3 videos up, 4 including this one. But I really enjoy doing this, so I plan on putting up more and more content. But please smash that like button and click on the subscription if you haven't done so already. I really appreciate it, and I hope you enjoy my videos. So who's tired of eating turkey and stuffing and mashed potatoes and things? Oh. I love those things, but you can only eat leftovers so many times. Plate still in the video. So we went Black Friday shopping, and went to Target, and it was like surprisingly not very busy. They opened at 6 o'clock, I think it was, from 6 to 12. And we got there at like 5:50 because we weren't looking to buy any big ticket items. We like to go because it's become part of the tradition, at least our Thanksgiving tradition, to go to the store. And we just went to Target, and then we love checking out their movies and their TV series. We always find good stuff. Speaking of TV series, so I know we're totally late on the wagon, but Carrie started watching The Office, and about halfway through the season 2, I got totally addicted to it. And so now we've been watching it a couple episodes a night. It's hilarious. I'm sure most of you have seen it. So funny. I love Dwight. His hair, his reactions to things, the way he's always so gullible when it comes to the CIA or the FBI or all of Jim and Pam's little antics. Right now we're sort of like in the spot where he killed Angela, his girlfriend's cat, by putting the cat in the freezer, which is not funny, but because it's not true, it's funny. And so she, of course, broke up with him, and he's like so heartbroken, like so heartbroken. It's so sad. Man, I love these rice. I can eat white rice. Well, any rice, but specifically white rice by itself, but with black beans. Reminds me of my childhood. Being home. And then tapatio and the onions just make it perfect. So any of you guys go Black Friday shopping? Or even Thanksgiving weekend shopping? Get any good deals? We get a bunch of movies. Oh, and we got the season 1 and 2 of Outlander, so I want to start that. I know it's still on TV, and the commercials look good, but I want to start it from the beginning. And I don't know what season they are on now, but I'm sure it's not 1 or 2. So good. Where I live, I haven't been able to find any good Cuban food, which is my favorite type of food. I am Cuban, if you didn't know. And it's like one of the things that I enjoy most about going home is those home-cooked Cuban meals. So good. Let's see here. A couple more of these cheese sticks. I normally like to dip it in marinara sauce or pizza sauce. Like you make your own homemade pizza. But I'm all out. I forgot. But by themselves, they're good. This weather's kind of yucky outside. I'm kind of getting full, which is like surprising since I only had a bowl of rice and beans. I think it's because I didn't have any breakfast. And I noticed that when I don't eat, well, I get ridiculously hungry. Like, we just sort of did the same thing yesterday. Not on purpose, just because I got up, went to the gym, ran errands, I do grocery shopping, and then before you know it, it's like 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon and you haven't had anything to eat. Which I assure you is not the norm because I need breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and snacks. But I can't believe I'm getting full. I'm sure I've got like air bubbles in my stomach. They're so crispy. So good. Alright guys, well thanks for joining me. I hope you enjoyed the video. This was delicious. I hope you guys are having something wonderful to eat as well. And I'll catch you next time. Alright, thanks so much. Bye guys.